Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be the Honda CT that Honda should have built instead of what they put out with the 125 100 Cub or Trail, whatever you want to call it. But first thing, I've got to sit back and thank one of my subscribers. He saw on one of my videos where I said I didn't have a set of sockets, and the reason I didn't is because I couldn't find any decent ones here in Thailand to buy. So folks, he sent me, yes, a socket set, and Stanley socket set. It's 1/4 inch drive, but deep ones, shallow ones, 2 swivels, an extension, a long extension, short one, and the screwdriver tip on it. And then he swore me to not sit back and say who it was that did it. So he knows who he is, and I thank you with all my heart. Thank you very much. I'll use them with good intentions too. So anyhow, now today's video, I've had my bike now for just a little over 1 year. So during that year's time, I've done a lot of modifying to it. And for those of you that don't know the history of the Honda CT, there was a little shop in Utah that started selling an awful lot of Honda Cub 50s, and that's mountainous area up around there where he was doing this. So the sales manager of American Honda contacted that dealership to find out how and why they were selling so many of the Honda Cubs. And he said, the guy there said, Mr. Yule, I think was his last name, but he said, I've been modifying these bikes and making them trail bikes and selling them as a trail bike. And long story short, he ended up shipping one of those bikes to California, and they inspected everything, shipped it to Japan with a request for them to manufacture a trail bike according to these specs. And this folks was back in 1960. So you can thank that little dealership there in Utah for getting the Honda CT that you have today, because if it wasn't for one man's idea to sit back and modify the Honda Cub, we probably wouldn't have a Honda CT trail bike for today. So anyhow, today's video is simply going to be, I'm going to show you what I've done to my bike over the past year to make it what it is today, and then we're going to take it for a ride around here. I'm still not able to go off-road with it right now. It's been raining non-stop for the last 2 weeks here in all of Thailand, and the roads just the last 2 days have dried up enough to where I could actually go out and run some nice paces with the bike. So anyhow, stay tuned, and we'll talk to y'all later. Okay folks, we're just going to go from one end of the bike, from one side of it to the other end of it and the other side of it, and show you what I've done. Granted, I'm going to give you prices of all this stuff too, so bear with me. One of the first things you should do if you're going to modify your CT is to go ahead and put a USB port on it. Put it on first if you're going to attach the positive wire to the headlight. Okay, if you're going to run it back to your battery, then you can put this on anytime actually. The reason I put mine, I say put that on up here first, is because these two racks, which are a bash bar for the headlight and a small storage rack for, I put bottle of water, some tea, gloves, a hat. That's what I put up here. Now, there's also the crossbar that I put on here. That's where I can mount my GoPro, or I can mount my phone and charge them while I'm going down the road. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the front forks. The YSS kit that I put in here. This is the caps that go on it, and this is how you adjust it. It takes a little bit of practice to get it to where it's going to actually do what you want it to do. But it's, until I got it adjusted the way it really needed to be, it wasn't that great. But now it's much better than stock. Then a center rack, and this one very lightweight. Actually, what added no weight to the bike to speak of. Now we come back here, and this part right here is the air intake cone, because when I replaced the rear rack, I had to take the air intake off of it and the hose that came back down to here, and now it sucks in right here. Now it's lower than what's stock, but it's still high enough that I'm not going to be, you know, trying to cross big rivers or anything like that. So there's the air intake. Now, for suspension on the rear, I put a set of Diablos on the back. Man, I tell you what, I really like these things. Easy to adjust, and the handling that you get with these shocks over stock is phenomenal. And then, of course, we put the aluminum swing arm on the back. We also went with a 42 tooth rear sprocket on it. And of course, I put the V-rubber VRM 022s on both the front and the rear. Now, I also purchased an extra set of rims, wheels and rims for the bike. And when I did that, I have a set of stock tires that I want to run on one set, and then the V-rubbers on the other set. And to do that, I needed to get extra rotors for it. So I bought these off of internet shopping outfit here in Thailand. And believe me, these have worked really good. I like them. So, next thing over here is, this may look like the stock exhaust, but actually all it is the stock heat shield. And it's on a cone type, megaphone type exhaust system. And the nice thing about this exhaust system, besides being able to use the stock heat shield on it, with the larger head pipe, it gave me much better performance to go along with the big 142cc big bore kit that I installed. And then, of course, I also purchased a crash bar for the exhaust system. So if I follow around that side, it should protect it pretty good. But with the big bore kit on here, 142cc's, that just about wraps up everything that I've done to it, that I've kept on it. So hey, let's go for a ride and see how she runs, okay? Okay.